Yeah, and the instructor gave the class like 3 different types to learn, and they all picked Southern Ireland.
Oh, sweet.
So she's going to be working on. I don't know if it's a brogue. I don't know, but
you know, like
Lucky the Leprechaun's going to be running around your house.
Yeah, Delaney's going to be using
that
for weeks.
Oh my gosh!
Over everything she's doing.
Well, it's funny because she had said to me in confidence, like she was like, of the 3 choices, one of them was like English, and she's like, I think my English accent's pretty good, or something like that. So she's like, I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to do the Southern Irish.
She's going to be calling you Da.
Like, rather than Dad?
Yeah.
Da.
Yeah, there's some actors we were talking about before. I think Kristen Bale is like the king of changing accent, right? Yeah. Well, at least going, like, it sounds like he has a very thick, is it Scottish? Normal accent?
I think it's like just a Cockney accent.
Yeah, it's very strong.
Yeah.
But you can't tell even remotely in his movies. Like, he can sound as American as anybody.
How do they do that?
It amazes me when British actors sound perfectly American.
There's a couple actors that I've heard come out like with their real accent.
Yeah.
And it is very impressive.
Yeah.
Do you think they're a little cocky about it over there and say, just sound like an idiot? An overweight idiot driving a big truck.
Yeah.
And you'll get it down. Well, I reckon we should head down over the hill. You think the English do that privately?
You sound like the guy who was elected mayor of South Carolina.
Oh, yeah. What was that dude's name? I'm sure it had an E on the end of it, like Jesse or something.
Is that how you tell?
Willie or Jesse or... you always got to have a Y on the end.
Wait a minute. I have an E on the end of mine.
Oh, yeah. Well, yours is a little different. Yeah.
You're not Lily.
Yeah, right.
You would be Lily if you were.
It's either ending with an E or they go with their middle name, like Bobby Joe.
That's right.
Or,
Oh, gosh. So you'd be Robbie. You'd be Robbie.
Yeah, Robbie.
What's your middle name?
Actually, that was my name. My whole family, there's family that still calls me Robbie.
What's your middle name?
Do they?
Nelson.
Robbie Nelson.
Robbie Nelson. Robbie Nelson wins.
That actually sounds classy.
Running for office. Huh?
Yeah, it's too
actually
classy.
Sounds classy.
Yeah.
Too classic.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work.
I just noticed on camera here, my Porn Kills Love t-shirt. Mm-hmm. Between my laptop and my microphone, all you can see is the word porn.
That's wonderful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Lee was coming in to get ready to go in the studio, and the way his sweater was set up, I thought it said Porn King.
That's just Porn Kills Love.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, we're right after...
because it does.
Finishing Lent, and he's going over the deep end. He's like, I've had enough of Lent. I'm going to go all into porn. That's what I thought when he was walking in.
It's like now it's negative Lent time.
It's negative Lent.
Mike had an interesting idea along the lines of the guy that did like the Super Size Me movie. They just ate McDonald's for 30 days straight or something. Mike was speculating, what if you did nothing but watch porn for like 40 days?
Yeah.
Like the anti-Lent.
How cranky you'd be.
You wouldn't just be cranky. You'd be in a world of despair. You really would. You would be just... It would destroy you.
I would imagine.
Emotionally, mentally, spiritually.
Yeah.
You'd be destroyed.
I agree.
I don't recommend it. No. I speak from experience.
Yeah, me too.
16-year-old me would be like, wait, what are you talking about? That would be awesome, dude.
Right.
Sure it would.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Stay off the porn, kids.
Yeah, definitely.
And stay off the kids' porn.
Yeah, especially...
No matter what order you put those words in, it applies.
It applies, for sure.
So, any interesting news this week?
Actually, it's funny you say that. Oxford University professor claims aliens are already breeding with humans on Earth.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's an Oxford professor?
Yeah, he's a Korean Oxford professor. Apparently, Korea has a auxiliary or whatever you would call it. He's a Korean at Oxford's Oriental Institute. And he believes that...
What's this plug into? Oh, that's your phone.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. I saw cords that weren't plugged in. I'm like, what are we not doing right?
He believes that aliens are not viewable by us. They just walk around the Earth.
Yeah.
And...
Like they live?
They decided...
Roddy Piper?
Yes. And they need to kick the evolution process into play to help fight climate change.
Wait a minute.
So he
Where does
teaches
Roddy Piper come in?
You never saw They Live?
Roddy
No.
Piper.
There's a movie he did
Oh, yeah.
where there were
awesome.
these alien demonic creatures going around and nobody could tell. They just looked like people, but he got a special pair of sunglasses where you put the glasses on and you could tell who was who. They had skull faces. That was the movie where he famously said, "I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum."
Oh, that's right. I remember that comment.
Yeah.
So these are the 80s, right? Had to have been the 80s.
Yeah,
Roddy
for sure.
Piper was, yeah.
No, I don't remember.
He passed
that
away,
movie.
right?
Yes, he did. Yep.
That's a shame. I liked him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. He's one of my favorites.
How did he die? You guys know?
I have no idea, man. Those guys live such a hard life.
Yeah.
I mean, going through, even though, wrestling is fake. I mean, it's painful. It's extremely.
Did you ever see The
painful what
Wrestler
they go
with
through.
Mickey Rourke?
Yes. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the amount they go through to fight the painkillers. And, we had a friend that actually does wrestling on the side here in Pittsburgh, and he talks about how painful he feels like he's a paraplegic the next day. He said he can't walk for over a day to do that because even the canvas and everything, it's wood and steel under there, and it's a very thin layer.
I feel like that if I have to stand in the line at the grocery store too long.
Yeah, right. Could you imagine being thrown?
Like, oh man, that
Yeah.
killed me. The
And
next
that-
morning, I can't get up out of bed.
And he said that wire that they back off on and launch themselves into
Yeah.
is steel cable
Really?
rung really tight. So
Wow.
it even hurts when they rear back on it to act like they're going to go forward. Like it's pushing a steel cable back that's wound extremely tight to keep it straight.
Yeah.
And they have to bend that back with their body, and they don't have shirts on usually and everything. And so
Yeah.
he said they have bruises all over their body. It's insane.
I think John Oliver just did a special like 2 Sundays ago about that and how they, the WWE doesn't have healthcare for they're all independent contractors.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Wow. And
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. And the things that they do to their own bodies, and they don't even have a way to, pay for the.
Wow. And imagine, like, they have a minor leagues themselves. Like, if they don't have that, and you have all these people trying to get on the show, like, making a pittance and not having benefits. I can't even imagine.
Wow.
And they're probably juicing themselves up to get big and everything else.
Yep.
Doing crazy stuff to their body. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, this dude, this professor, believes insect aliens may be in charge and give orders to the other types. And he thinks there's, like, 4 types of aliens. Cool. Small, tall and bold, scaly with snake eyes, and insect-like.
Well, they would have to have like a way to do the deed, right? I mean, that would be a requirement, and who's to say that's even how they do it on their country and their world?
Yeah, I don't know how that would work.
Doesn't go into that kind of detail. Doesn't he have all the physics worked out?
Well, he said the reason that there's proof is there is a large number of documented cases of alien abduction, and it's increased as climate change has gotten worse.
Oh, there you go.
Nope.
Yeah.
Climate change. Told you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good thing you're recycling those Nespresso pods.
yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness. You are single-handedly saving us from.
Yeah.
I was almost raped by an alien, but I said my friend recycles his Nespresso pods, so he let me go.
He cited an abduction researcher in the U.S. who argued that aliens' primary purpose is to colonize the planet by interbreeding with humans to produce a new hybrid species. So just think, parents, you're sending your kids to a $30,000 to $40,000 to $60,000 a year institution, and this is kind of stuff that you're learning.
This is Oxford,
Yeah.
and his categorizations of these aliens were small, medium,
Yeah.
large, and venti. What was it?
Yeah, exactly. Insect-like.
Huh.
And the insect-like ones are the ones that are leading everybody else.
First, they're the ones I call the small ones.
Yeah. And he's a doctor.
Oh my god.
Dr. Chi believes aliens appear on Earth when the planet is facing significant problems, such as climate change or nuclear war.
Dr. Chi?
Yeah, Dr. Chi.
CHI?
Yep. And he concluded it may be more or less assumed that the hybrid project is a response to this impending demise of human civilization. See, Mike, these are the people that you're palling around with for climate change. When you talk, I mean, I can agree with some of the climate change stuff, but the fringes of these people are believe in this stuff. This is what you're tied to.
Oh yeah.
In a very indirect. It's kind of like
very
having your
indirect
second uncle that lives in West Virginia that has
one you've
kids
never
that
met.
look very similar to each other and they have 6 fingers.
Yeah.
And there's interbreeding. It's kind of the same concept, I guess, right?
Huh.
Yeah. You got the fringe elements. Anyway.
Yeah.
This is what he looks like, Dr. Young Hai Chi.
Huh.
Anyway, alien abduction and environmental crisis.
I'll tell you, if my kid was going to Oxford, I'd be pretty angry right now.
Yeah, that kind of money? Yeah.
For that kind of garbage coming out of there?
But to defend the people that say they were abducted by aliens, imagine if we literally were abducted by aliens. And how would you explain and prove to people that you were?
I guess.
Like, let's say we were. The three of us were walking outside being losers and, doing something, anything, and all of a sudden this beam of light comes down, grabs us, jerks us into the spaceship, and we're laying on these flat planes and they're like dissecting little pieces of us or putting metal or whatever in us and analyzing our bodies and then doing whatever else they do.
Yeah.
And then 15 minutes later they beam us back down and we're here and we're like, holy crap, what just happened? How would you explain to somebody to make them believe that it really happened?
Right.
That'd be crazy.
I
It'd
guess
be
you'd
impossible.
write an article for the Sun or whatever you're reading there.
Yeah.
The New York Daily Post.
And
of course.
people would just be like, oh, it's those three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, it happened.
You kind of, think about Paul, like when he was Saul, when he was out on the road and that beam of light hit him and he went blind.
Are you saying that's what happened to Paul?
Well, imagine the argument he had to make.
Oh.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
I saw this
People
beam of
probably
light.
think we're doing that already.
What's that?
We're just alien conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
Talking about Catholicism.
Yeah.
There's people who are going to equate those two.
Oh, really?
Sure, of course.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's already happening. I mean, even the person I love, Elon Musk, getting into the point where he says it's very possible, it's a high probability that we live in a simulation, and that there could be some snot-nosed kid that we're a part of a game, or a science or a scientific experiment where they were able to kick off a virtual world because of how close they believe virtual worlds are working in video games, and we haven't even scratched the surface. So they're using that to equate the possibility that our God is some kid in a room somewhere that just kicked us off somewhere and let it play out. Right?
Yeah, it's like the cosmic spaghetti monster sort of concept, right? Mm-hmm. Where you've got someone from outer space that's making changes to. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They go with that argument because they believe we can't prove that God exists,
right?
And they're like, well, we can. It could be this too, right? So that's kind of their argument that they run with. The cosmic spaghetti monster. That's right.
Yeah. So we got some new equipment here.
I know.
These microphones sound divine.
Don't they sound good?
Yeah, they're
really
amazing.
Nice.
Other than the negative parts where it's so clear you can hear a lot of the saliva interaction. You got to be really careful with how you talk on here.
And breathing, I've noticed too.
Yeah, heavy breathing. You got to watch.
Yeah.
These are called condenser microphones. So technically, oh wow, yeah, very clear. That's some ASMR you got going there.
It is, I know.
Yeah, it is. But technically, they say if you drop these mics, they might break because there's something going on in there to make them sound like that.
So
I don't know what it is.
We should be careful with them.
You have to be very careful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I didn't pay out of our fund, I didn't pay for the $25 replace.
Oh, you didn't?
You didn't want the warranty.
I didn't.
The warranty on these.
Well, no, it's that it's that when you get that third party company that comes in and says, "Hey, we'll replace," and then you have to
actually use it, and they're like, "Oh, well, did you?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I never buy the warranties on anything.
No,
yeah.
It's for not.
It's for chumps.
Yeah, thank you.
Chumps.
I was going to say that's for suckers, but chumps works too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like all the really cool cables and things. We look very technically proficient now with all of this stuff with our mixing board. And,
you look profesh.
Yeah, looks good.
Looking pretty good.
It really does. I need to get some stickers on my. I also need to get
on your Chromebook,
MacBook. Yeah.
At the very least, you just need the little glowing apple sticker in the middle.
Yeah, I'm like the very southern part of this table. I don't make a lot of money, but I'm real funny. So,
wow. But when you're talking about the spaghetti monster, some of the there are scientific findings that people that believe they've encountered God or they follow a godly life have a completely different mental outlook, and they actually have health benefits from it that doctors have been unable to refute. That they see it. There was a funny article I caught yesterday, and it goes in that direction, but it also says you can get that same feeling with certain drugs. And I think you remember who's the guy, Alex Jones?
Yeah.
Who is he's made fun of a lot, right?
Yeah.
Because he makes some outrageous statements.
Yeah.
The InfoWars guy.
The InfoWars guy, right?
A mental patient that hasn't been properly.
Yeah. I've listened to him, and he talks about.
But it's all shtick, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think
Isn't it
so.
all
I
shtick?
think it is.
I can't tell. I mean, he's like Donald Trump. You can't tell if he's serious or.
Right.
But
He's really good at it.
Right.
There's no way someone like that can be walking around, in society or leading a country. Sorry, I'm not being political, but
Christian Bale could do it.
Yeah. But he talked about, he claimed, I remember Alex Jones claimed something that there's experiments out there that the government was doing where they were having people take magic mushrooms, which are the chemical in that psilocybin. That's a drug that gets into a certain part of your brain where there's a piece of the brain science folks have found that they believe is a direct antenna for.
I believe the word is scientificist.
Scientificist. That there's we have an antenna in our brain that has how we communicate to what we think is spiritual or to God. So when there's even some proof that they've analyzed the brain when people are feeling very holy or they feel very centered.
Yeah.
That part of the brain is activated. Well, that some of these drugs like ayahuasca,
I love
mushrooms,
that word. I love to say that word.
I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Is that the right way to say it?
I think so. That's the way it sounded on the Joe Rogan Experience with Alex Jones. It sounded like he was saying it like that.
They say that they can get, and Alex Jones was claiming that the government was testing these mushrooms and using the ayahuasca to communicate directly with aliens or some spiritual angels. So Alex Jones claims that he believes in God, and he says the Bible is. He'll actually say that the Bible is something we're supposed to use as a guide to find out how to communicate with this higher power. But he's using it in a means of we can communicate to this higher power to find out all this information we need to do whatever we need to do. It's more not directly related to spiritual. I think he does say he believes in, but I think he uses it more for it's an information source. Like this is our way to channel into the higher power that can tell us all the stuff we need to know about the world, type stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But
to get answers,
the Bible's just a wiki.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way it came off to me when I heard him talk. But this article has nothing to do with Alex Jones, but these people have found that there's lasting mental benefits. They've surveyed a number of people that were religious and people that have taken these drugs and having these God encounter experiences, and with them they found that their health would turn around. Like a lot of these people were sick people. So with Dr. Griffiths and his team used data from 4,285 people around the world who completed one of 2 50-minute online surveys about God encounter experiences. So they experienced a higher power, whether they took this drug, whether it was LSD, ayahuasca, or they prayed.
And it's funny because I've heard arguments from secular people who have their beliefs, and they say, oh well, they've the scientists have identified a part of the brain that has actually grown larger in people who are religious, and that lights up when someone is praying or they're having that sort of one-on-one moment with Christ or God, and how that's supposed to point out that, it's actually our own selves doing it to ourselves. And honestly, like thinking about it, I think that proving that part of the brain gets stronger or lights up or whatever in that experience doesn't prove that. It just proves that, that someone who is religious is stronger.
Yeah. It could equally prove the reverse of what they're saying.
Exactly.
That your body is reacting to the spiritual, not that the spiritual is generated by the body.
Right. Just like someone who's very wise has a really good memory, that part of their brain would light up or be larger than someone who doesn't have that power. So that's where I'm necessarily disputing someone who comes up with that.
Sure. It's amazing how much effort folks have put into trying to disprove spirituality. And it's a constant attempt. They're always coming back at it.
Right.
Yeah.
I read an article recently about near-death experiences and just after-death experiences, and talking about how the consciousness remains for this indeterminate period, and it's almost like a hallucination. The experience of God that people have that have died and come back, and they're just always working to disprove. It's like it's a constant barrage.
Yeah. Well, the biggest footnote I took from this article was researchers found several interesting conclusions. Among them, 75% of people who had an encounter say it was the most meaningful and spiritually significant moments in their lives, so much so that it brought about permanent positive change in their life satisfaction, purpose, and meaning. In fact, the experience was so powerful that about 2/3 of self-identified atheists shed that label after their encounter.
Oh my goodness.
Which is pretty huge.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable. Well, I wonder how long, if someone is an atheist and they take the one of those chemicals, I wonder how long that spirituality change lasts. There was a guy on TED Talks that had gone to see some shaman about some pain or whatever, and it was in one of the big Amazon forests or one of those parts of the world, and the guy had given him this ayahuasca. Yeah, and it was a tea, and this guy, the experience that he went through was he experienced death. Like the talk was really, really powerful, but it was just a horrible experience for him.
It's almost like the what do those folks in New Orleans practice?
Voodoo? Like the
voodoo,
circle in the rainbow?
You remember how they said they could give somebody a chemical and make them feel like they were dead and bury them alive?
Oh my goodness.
It almost sounds like that kind of experience that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Where they get that sense. So what we're not condoning on the show is taking a drug of any sort to hardwire and get a quick and easy path to God. I think, Mike, what I understand
wasn't that Timothy Leary's aim with LSD?
Yes.
Achieving higher consciousness?
Higher consciousness. So, like, I guess that would be tantamount to me, instead of exercising every day and trying to lose weight a physical way, I'm trying to take a short circuit in and take some drug to lose weight really fast, which is unnatural, it's unhealthy, and usually it's unsustainable, right? And it's not the right way to go, right?
Yeah.
So you could almost say similar things, right? So my understanding is you have a list of, if we were to do it the right way, if we wanted to get this spiritual encounter, you've done some research on like what are the successful people doing in the spiritual circles that found this same way to do it, right?
Yeah, I think so. So basically, let me take you.
You brought us drugs. Is that what we're getting at?
Let me take
some spiritual drugs.
Let me take you for a walk. Real quick.
Yeah.
So the other day I was watching this news special on Vice News, and they were talking about this group in Israel that they're called the Haredi. So in Israel, they've got a faction of religious that they are extreme Orthodox, and they stay outside the society. They actually shun modern technology. They have a belief that they are not Israelis. even though they're living in Israel. They're not Israeli. They're Jews. They're ultra Orthodox, and they're isolated from the secular community. So they do not want any of their people to be in the Israeli Defense Force, the IDF. And they don't obviously want to contribute to the overall success of Israel by, contributing every day, by going to work outside of their community, that sort of thing.
So they're like the Israeli equivalent of the Amish?
Yeah, I guess you could say
Almost
that.
like,
although the Amish do sell their wares
they
to
sell their
secular,
wonderful pies and pecan pie, fried chicken.
Oh, fried chicken, yeah.
Yeah, so they're actually not like the Amish in that they're not in there like saying come to our and buy our stuff.
No,
they actually don't want anybody in with them.
Right. As a matter of fact, the reporter had gone into one of these Haredi neighborhoods, and as he was entering the Haredi neighborhood, there was a big sign, and it said, it basically, don't dress provocatively, and you're entering an area that people don't welcome, that sort of thing. So,
right.
So as I was watching it, I was thinking about how awesome it would be to have a community of Catholics that had the same sort of controls, where it would be, I know it's...
So we kick everybody else out that were non-Catholic?
Yeah, I know it's cult-like, and I know we're not...
I think Mike's trying to build a cult.
I am. And we're
I'm
called,
starting to get nervous.
We are called to be in the world, right?
Uh-huh.
So it's not where we're supposed to be.
But he's getting the eyes like he's the consoling father. You see it, he's like, now Mike.
Just hear me out. Hear me out.
You're right.
Yeah,
let me.
We are called to be in the world.
Yes, I know that. But I'm just saying, life would be so much easier for me.
The human species is an organism.
Yeah.
God intends for us to interact with one another.
Listen to the Porn King for a second, okay? Get some words of wisdom.
And when I say interact, I mean,
no. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. I'm just saying that it would be cool. And another thing, when
the Lord has called upon us to have an orgy.
Lee, I just want to warn everybody. I thought this was going in a completely different direction. I didn't know we were building a cult. I honestly didn't. Mike's
like, hey, I have this great idea for a show, and you're like, yes, that sounds really good.
Yeah,
and then you stopped listening.
Yeah, exactly. And then I didn't realize we're gonna get this group of people, and we're gonna move to another little area, that we'll call our own, right?
Mike packages the headline in a very, very digestible way, but you need to go a little deeper.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. So I just want to say, when I thought I was condoning it, now I'm kind of freaking out a little bit.
I'm very
but keep going. We'll see where this goes.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So anyway, even when the journalist entered this Haredi neighborhood, there was, and they walked by the sign that was basically, don't dress like a whore or whatever. There was a guy that came out of nowhere, as they're walking through, and he had one of those big black hats on, like the Amish wear, and he had these long curly things off his hair, and he had.
This sounds like Hasidic Jews, but they're not. They're sort of.
They
extreme.
look like them. Yeah,
they're very extreme. Okay.
And he was like harassing them as they were going through because he saw the camera and he wasn't comfortable, and he kept taking his hat and covering the lens and just generally harassing them. So you would have that sort of protection in my community world that I'm selling right now, unbeknownst to you two. But
you would have a Hasidic Jew at the gate.
That
would be
whatever.
That was just like harassing people.
I'm thinking a dragon, but yeah,
or a dragon, one or the other.
Okay.
So that actually took me down in my feeble mind.
Yeah, where did it take you? Good Lord.
Well, after I got past the unreality of that, I was like, well, so let's say, I were to give suggestion to someone on how rules would be in my protected little world. No, how to live.
Yeah.
How to be a Catholic.
Yeah.
How to make your life such that you can live in the world and still be live comfortably, like live with others, not in this protected little community, and still be Christian, Catholic.
I wish I had paid attention when you were proposing this.
Yeah.
Because I have a book called The Benedict Option by Rod Dreher, and it's kind of about this. It's about communities coming together and being with people who have similar values and beliefs, and almost withdrawing from society because of to shelter yourselves and remain godly and help one another.
I would like to read that.
I'll bring it for you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Is it a big book? Lots of words?
No pictures.
No pic.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've got some bullets here I'm going to share with you guys. And so
who are your sources, by the way?
Oh, sure, thanks. So sources
Mike
are
Work. Mike Work and Mike Work.
Yeah.
Your usual Ren and Stimpy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
SpongeBob.
Oh, wow. I got to go with Ren and Stimpy. That's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Beavis and Butthead. But yeah, so
Shut up, Hathaway.
Father Mike Schwitz.
Cornelio in my bunghole. All right, jeez. Yeah.
Father Mike Schmitz, Father Mike Spitzer, Bishop Barron, the Catechism.
Isn't it Robert Spitzer? Is it Mike?
Mike
Spitzer.
Spitzer.
It was Robert.
Yeah, there's two Mikes.
I thought we determined it was Father Robert Spitzer.
No.
Okay.
I'll look him up.
Father
Keep
Mike
going.
Spitzer's
Is it Mike? Okay.
Universe, yeah. So, I listen to their podcasts, I watch their YouTube, just things over the time that I've been a Catholic, 11 years, that I think is good, solid advice. That, so, yeah. All right, let's start. Basics.
So you've been Catholic longer than either of us, so we need to listen to you.
I'm a super Catholic.
Yeah.
No.
Where's your cape?
Oh, well, I
Is
keep
it hidden
at
under
home.
the jacket?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first thing, very base, is follow the 10 Commandments. All right, let's start there. Any arguments?
So
Any arguments?
At the core, yeah.
Go.
Yeah. So do we have any direct arguments with God is basically your question that we want to refute. What you're saying is at the very core of everything. Like if you're going to establish a foundation of living, at its lowest base, follow the 10 Commandments. That would be the first layer. Okay.
Yeah, because I
can't argue that. I mean,
who can? It's like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That would be the very lowest need. The very
outside of the first 3 commandments, which deal with our relationship with God, I think the vast majority of society would agree with the rest of the 10 Commandments.
It's hard to argue.
Yeah, it's hard to argue.
It's basic morality.
Yeah.
Although thou shalt not kill.
Yeah.
Capital punishment. Like everyone's all over
and abortion.
Abortion. Everyone's all over the board on that.
Absolutely.
Or even war. That's a tough one, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And
But in a general sense, I think everybody agrees that you don't want to kill people.
Right.
And the arguments come in, A, what defines a person, and B, what do a person's actions, what kind of repercussions do they have? Like if a person is evil and has done evil and is not, seems to be incorrigible, is it okay to take him out?
No. Right.
But there is such a thing as a just war.
Yeah, that's the argument, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that in the Bible or anywhere? Where is that?
I don't know.
Like, who came up with the idea that there is a just war? No, but that is a term. It is. It's true, and I think there's Christians that
I don't have the answer.
I think there's I'm going to look that up.
I'm just an idiot. So
no, that Christians hold to that. I've heard that before.
Oh no, it's a thing.
You mean like Hitler? Like
just war theory?
Yeah, like how do you stop a man?
No,
like
it's
Hitler?
like
oh wow, and it actually says just war theory in Catholic.
War.
Here we go. Just war in the Catechism of the Catholic Church. So there is.
Okay, if you have someone like Hitler who is, mowing people down, it's okay to go to war against them. Mm-hmm. It's so that that's that war is just.
And he just cited the Catechism.
Yeah, it says the Catechism of the Catholic Church in paragraphs 2302 to 2317 authoritatively teaches that what constitutes the just defense of a nation against an aggressor, called the just war doctrine. It was first enunciated by St. Augustine of Hippo.
There you go.
Over the centuries, it was taught by the doctors of the Church, such as St. Thomas Aquinas, and formally embraced by the magisterium, which has also adapted it to the situation of modern warfare.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't necessarily need to kill, though, in war. We could come up with these super weapons that just
Like the
disable
sonic
people.
weapons?
Yeah.
That just,
Yeah.
mess you up.
Yeah. Just a little, just for a little bit, kind of give you a bad headache.
We're getting to that point, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Wasn't a sonic weapon used in Cuba or somewhere recently?
Those were microwaves.
Okay,
that
was it
were
microwaves?
Directed microwaves that were.
They had a permanent impact on the people they affected, though.
Yeah.
They did. It really jacked them up big time.
But so all the 10 Commandments, and I was thinking, so could I say in my world that the 10 Commandments would be enforced punitively? And I don't think so, because of, like you said, the first 3 that explain our relationship with Christ. You can't do that. Like, you can't say, if you don't love your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, that
you can't. You're right.
You cannot punitively hurt someone.
You can't force anyone to love.
No.
Yeah.
So the 10 following the 10 Commandments, this is a guideline for all other laws and rules. But not.
And that's true. Even the laws of the land, they're based off of that, right? Judeo-Christian value.
Yeah.
Where the construct of our law system is based off of that.
Yeah. Was it ever illegal to take the Lord's
Own
name
people?
in vain?
Oh.
To what? Own people?
To own people. Was it ever illegal to own people?
I think it is now.
It is now. Yes. Was it ever illegal to take the Lord's name in vain?
Yeah.
Probably in certain communities.
But yeah, and there would be some sort of monetary.
Probably.
Yeah. I wonder about that historically, if there was ever a.
Like in a Puritan community. Lovely. In a Puritan community, I would imagine that they had you get put in the stocks.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So
yes.
you couldn't really enforce those.
Well, right. I guess it depends on what sort of a community. Are you establishing a free community, or are you establishing a Catholic community here?
I'm establishing something like the heredity.
You're free to do whatever you want as long as you are a good person, or are you talking about a Catholic community?
Catholic community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't want people taking the Lord's name in vain, and you want people there who already love God above all else. So you don't need to enforce those things, right?
That's true.
Wasn't there, didn't you say, Lee, before, I think it was a private conversation, where confession used to be something you would admit in front of a congregation?
Yeah, they've told us that.
So like in a community like that,
Yeah.
even things you did privately, you would have to share them out in front of everybody.
Yeah.
But there'd be no enforcement of
Well,
that.
that is
That's what I'm
enforcement
saying.
enough. I mean, that's like, if you're really following through, I mean,
But
embarrassing yourself like that in front of everybody,
Yeah.
that's almost like being putting your head in the stockyard and being mocked, right?
Right.
So,
Right, but you'd have to, torture someone to find out whether they truly love Christ or not. And that's just outside the boundaries of any sort of Christian society. So, all right,
Right.
second one, moving on, unless there's anything else with that.
I just want to highlight the message here. We are not condoning
No.
a society where we beat up people for not believing in God.
No.
Or even
I am.
That is what
for even judging people for that. Like, we're not condoning that.
No.
But what we're talking about here is there's that extreme element where they're trying to do it, but they're, what are the successful spiritual people doing that are, are kind at heart and they're following their direction? What do they do? So, like, what is their base? Their base is first 10 Commandments, and then what?
Absolutely.
Okay.
First of all, just follow the 10 Commandments.
Right.
Second one is be generous with your time spent with family and friends. So, and, just to support that, just to put it in a frame of mind, even just sitting down with, you don't necessarily have to be doing something with your family and friends. Just sitting down and just quietly spending time. Like, even at bare minimum, spend time with family and friends.
Like, at least have dinner with them together at the table, or something to where you at least have a little bit of touch point with them where they can be themselves, you can be open, you can talk. Right?
Sure. The greatest thing you can give anyone, the greatest thing is your time, because that's what's limited. I mean, sure, money, right? But time is truly limited. So that would be.
And I think, what I've learned, and it's a difficult balance as a parent, and I'm not saying I'm successful by any stretch. I'm not. I mean, I struggle with parenting, but one thing that I've learned is in those moments that you're talking about, that's not you being preachy either. It's being, I think, opening your ears and listening and being there for the person where they're at, right? I mean, it's like trying not to use it to be a judgy area, but it's more of like, let them be who they are so they open up to you so you can love them and be aware.
Right.
Like, your time with them wouldn't be like me spending time with you and I'm making you listen to my radio station and we're watching my favorite show. Yes, exactly. And you're right there beside me and I'm like, this is awesome, isn't it?
Don't you
and you're like, wow,
this
sucks, right? Yeah. It's actually trying to be where they're at, right?
Yeah, exactly. You nailed it.
Yeah, right.
I mean, there are times to be preachy, but there are also times just to chill and be together with your family and friends. Go to their world. Exactly what you said. And then, I don't know about you, but a lot of times, like, I get anxious where I'm like, oh, we should be doing something right now. Let's do something. But you don't have to do that. Just spending time with...
There was a psychologist that I adhered to. He was actually on Good Morning America. I met him. He's a really neat guy. He wrote the birth order book. I'll get his name later. But one thing that I really like that he said, and I believe in, is like, for instance, if you're in the car with your kid, and even if you hate their music, you hate what they're listening to, try to find a thread of music that they really like that you'll play on there. You don't have to act like you like. Oh, you have to sort of act like you like it. Show interest in what they like, and talk about. When you're having a conversation with them, do it in their arena rather than like your arena. So play their music and, celebrate what they like. Try to find some common thread where you can find interest. Like if they like to go play airsoft or your friend likes to go do something, kind of be where they're at because that makes them more open to you to talk, So I just thought that was a really neat way, I think, to follow through with that. Like don't put your personal interest in mind when you're with people. Try to put their interest in mind.
Right.
This community sounds like it sucks.
It does.
Yeah.
I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to live in your community, Mike.
All right. Well, let me keep going.
All right.
And then, so next one is take care of the physical body and brain that God gave you. Take care of the physical body and the brain that God gave you. And what do I mean by that?
Don't watch porn for 40 days straight.
That's actually another one, but...
sorry. I didn't mean to jump ahead.
I thought it was in there too, though, wasn't it? No?
Yeah, it is, but it...
it applies here.
No, it does.
Mentally, yeah, definitely.
So the first thing...
Mentally, physically, spiritually, it applies to the entire human person.
It does.
All right,
right.
So here's what I mean, just to give some examples. Don't get drunk. Don't get drunk. Don't get high. That's not to say you can't enjoy a glass of beer or a glass of wine or whatever, but don't get drunk.
Don't get yourself out of control, like to where you can't control yourself.
Sure.
Yeah. Right.
Moderation in all things.
Yes.
Aristotle.
There you go.
That's a great way to say it. That's the best way to say it.
That's Aristotelian.
Yeah, Aristotelian. Big word.
Exercise daily. Take a walk. Hit the gym. Go hiking and enjoy God's creation. And God's creation is not just taking a hike and enjoying all the things God created, but enjoy the body that you are not, that's not your own. Enjoy God's body.
I guess your body's supposed to be your temple, right? It's supposed to be what you were created to take care of.
These are on loan to us.
Yeah, so our souls are in our body, and our body is kind of like our vehicle. It's kind of like taking care of our car, right?
Yeah. Stay away from porn.
But it's more than that.
It is.
I mean, we're a spirit and a body. We're both.
Right.
So it's not like your body's just
we're comprised. Yeah.
A temporary thing. I mean, it's a package.
It's our shell, right? And so the difference from a car, we get out of our car from time to time. In this, we're permanently here until our body stays intact. But our body we'll
get it back.
Be rebuilt.
You'll get it back
after.
It'll
be
in mint condition.
Mint condition.
Yeah.
It's not our own.
Yes.
That's what a lot of people. What I struggle with too.
We didn't make ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
We were put here and given this. It's a gift. It isn't. It isn't. Yeah. It isn't a possession. Yeah. You have nothing to do with the fact that you have this body.
Yeah. It's not like we're parasites. We're not taking over the body. It's part of one. It's a union.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay away from porn.
Mm-hmm.
Stay away from the local news. It's trash.
I saw that one now. Was that the Mike Workism, or
This is a Mike Workism. Yes.
See, my dad would.
Don't watch Channel 2.
Yeah.
Don't watch Channel 2.
Damn you, Peggy Finnegan.
So
she's an 11.
You go to.
I know. Yeah, we see.
If you go to any of the local news, at any time, they're talking about the same story at the same time. Like you could go directly from, ABC to NBC, and they're talking about the same thing. So, it's just it's mind-numbing garbage. I
agree with you, but my dad would be pissed at you
I'm
now
sorry.
Because he is like a hardcore 6 and 11 news guy.
Yeah,
he can't just watch the 6 o'clock news. He's got to watch it again at 11.
Well, keep it.
Those 5 hours have gone by.
I don't get it. And he's like, we got to put it back on. I'm like, are you kidding me? I hate, did God love you, Dad? You turned me off of the news. I hate local news. But I never knew there was a Christian element to it. I just didn't like it.
Oh, there's not a Christian element to it.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't know there was an anti-Christian element to it.
No, there's not an anti-Christian element to it.
You just think it's bad for you.
I think it's garbage. It is like...
But my dad would argue, how are you going to keep informed when the flooding's coming and wherever it's going to be? Uh-huh. Even though the timing of it happens to happen at 6 or 11 o'clock.
Yeah. I'll get an alert on my phone.
Yeah, that's what I prefer.
I'll tell you, it's getting worse.
Yeah.
Like the quality of what is on it's getting worse. It's all owned by the same conglomerate.
It is.
It's just so bad.
And they try to get ratings by sensationalism, right? Yeah. So something's got to be extreme in everything. You got to watch because if you miss this, it's going to change your life in a bad way.
And you can just hear the disappointment whenever some pending doom doesn't occur, when they're live on scene.
Yeah.
It's just so bad. So stay away from local news.
I just want the interest part, you're engrossed in this. You're building this list.
So angry, yeah.
What triggered you to put that in there? Something had to invade your mind.
It's honestly like a Mike Workism. It is something that
Okay.
And then limits.
Next, we're going to hear about the foods Mike doesn't like.
I'm getting there.
It'll get in here.
Yeah.
Don't eat avocados.
Arugula is bad for you.
Yeah, right.
Limit social media to minutes of your day because it's the same sort of local news thing where, they just all these little negative stories and the negative tone eventually just eats away at your outlook on life. Mm. So that's what it really comes down to. And these are real things that you can do to improve, take care of your brain. Don't get garbage into your brain. Limit what you're letting in. That's all I'm saying.
So the opposite of that is let in positive things, right? Which would include probably reading material that'll help expand your universe of knowledge in the spiritual realm or making you a better person.
Yeah. Don't get trapped by the headlines and so if it sounds like garbage, don't read it. Move on. There's too much stuff out there that's positive and good, and that's what I mean by that.
I was talking to someone last night who was talking about that the news is always negative, and why don't we have news sources that are just sources of positive news? Apparently, at a local school recently, in the girls' room. An anonymous girl put in a pad of Post-it notes and wrote like a really positive note and stuck it on the mirror. And before long, the entire pad of Post-it notes had been used, and the entire mirror was covered with, you look great today. You can do it. I love you. Good. Like just positive messages. Other girls just picked that up, and there wasn't a single negative note on the mirror. And you don't hear about nice little things like that.
No. Where did you even pick that up?
I was talking to somebody at church last night. We had a big reception thing, and she was just telling me that you don't hear about good little stuff like that.
It's funny. The guy that I'm reading is the complete opposite of that, but that's for your own self growth, where he says you should be real with yourself and you should put Post-it notes of negative
ones,
extremely negative. Like if you feel like you're fat, say, you're a fat whatever.
I'm surprised you can read this, moron.
He's must be one of the, what was his name? Most well-known special. He was a Navy SEAL.
Yeah. And I read his book as well, and it's just escaping me right now.
Yeah, but he talks about you got to go extreme and be real with yourself. So you should put Post-it notes on your mirror that you are confronted with every day you come in to remind yourself of what kind of peon you are. To get you to change. Yeah,
and that worked for him.
I guess it's whatever motivates you, right?
Yeah, but
it might work better for yourself, but like if you're trying to motivate somebody else, that probably wouldn't be the right path to do it, right?
Yeah.
And I think the encouragement one would be the better option.
I think it was you, Rob, that was telling me about the story where, okay, so you had a horrible accident, right? Mm-hmm. And let's say there was a car accident and there were several people that were hurt, killed, whatever. The news stops there. Mm-hmm. What's the body count? What's the damage? But then, the other part of that news story are the people who came and saved lives and put themselves out for, like, that is the real...
Yeah, it's the tone, right? The tone shifts. Like, if news was about the heroism of saving somebody in that situation and the first responders coming in...
Yeah.
To do that, I mean, that would be a very different turn, and that's part of the story that always gets cut off.
Exactly.
Like the news always wants to run up to the death and whatever destruction, and you see it on social media. There was talk. The problem with the negativity is that on social media, people get sensationalized. They want to go see somebody getting beheaded or whatever else. They get focused on that, and they're going for clicks. Because they get paid for the amount of success they get for clicks on things like that. So they try to sensationalize this stuff, right? But one would argue if people would spend time doing the other side of that, that would be so much better of a world to live in.
Right. Yeah. So that's exactly what I mean by that.
Yeah.
So do we have time?
Yeah, we got time. Okay, keep
going. Pray several times a day. So
I have a really hard time with that, and that's my weakest point, is praying. I've always said it on the show, so I don't need to go into detail, but it seems like such an easy thing to do.
It does.
And
it's not.
Pray unceasingly is what we're told.
Yeah, like continually, right?
Yeah. But I don't think that means always be in prayer. I think it means live your life as a prayer.
Oh, that's pretty deep.
Let everything you do be a prayer to God.
So it wouldn't even have to be words. It's just action.
No, in fact, most of it's not going to be words.
So,
when we hear the word prayer, we think of petitionary prayer. Dear Lord, please, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's not what that points to, and that's why I think we have so much trouble with it, because as easy as that should be to do, that's really hard to do.
Yeah.
For me, it is. So, I have trouble setting aside time, to just spend and talk with God.
Yeah.
I'm not good at it.
I'm terrible at it. And I don't know if it's like in my action, like the way I'm constructed, but I almost feel like I'm not making any progress if I'm sitting doing nothing. It feels like to me, which is a terrible thing to say, it feels like I'm doing nothing. I'm sitting there and I'm composing my thoughts and I'm trying to channel it, right? I feel like I'm not getting anywhere with this. I don't feel any... I need a dialogue, and so I want to dig into what you just said a little more. So what you're saying is like, what other people might say, do everything you do to honor God. Is this kind of like those actions? Is that like petitionary? Is that what you mean by prayer like that? Is it like, so it'd be like always constantly staying focused on what is honorable to God.
Yeah.
That would be a form of prayer. Almost.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
So Father Mike was talking about like dedicating certain parts of your day to God, like the next, I don't know, your commute to work. Christ, I'm going to dedicate this commute to you, and then while you're on your commute, turn off the radio, silence out the rest of the world, and just concentrate on driving and taking care not to treat other drivers as though they're not humans, and possibly spending some silent time with God. Is that what you mean, Lee? That sort of
that could be part of it.
Where you're dedicating this thing to God.
Sure. I think another source of difficulty for us in prayer too is thinking that it's something that we're doing. But I know Father Mike has talked about it, and other people as well. that prayer is always a response. If you're called to prayer, if you feel the desire to pray, if you're praying, you didn't initiate that. It's part of a conversation that God initiated.
Yeah.
And he has called you to come and talk to him. So when you're in prayer, it isn't this thing that you have to do. It's the second part of what's happening. God has started this conversation with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's deep.
Yeah, because that's actually leading to, the first thing on there was pray daily in silence. Yeah. And that's what you were just alluding to. And the second thing I have here is pray as a family. And I'm terrible at that.
Mm-hmm.
Like
me too.
I mean, I've seen families do it, and I'm jealous of them. That it's just, there's so many different factors at work with stopping and saying, guys, let's just pray together. Like, it's just not going to happen.
I'm binging Netflix right now. You're on your laptop. You're playing the PlayStation. There's no time to do it right now. And then when you're ready to do it, you fell asleep. I'm just like,
you've got a 13-year-old
you
girl
carve it
that's
out,
like,
man.
Dad, you're stupid.
Yeah, that's like the quality of the prayer too, right? I think of, like, I'm being fully vulnerable here on like how bad my prayers can be. Like, we always do pray at dinner, but if I talk about how crappy some of those prayers are, I'll give you the perfect example. My kids are at the table, my wife's there, they're all famished. I forget I need to go get butter out of the fridge. So I do a standing prayer. As I'm walking to get the butter, we're all praying together, and I'm bringing the butter at the table, and the prayer ends, and we're eating. That's how crappy some of our prayers are. You know what I mean? Or you're doing the standing prayer. You're there, and you're like, I need to go get some ice, but I'm going to stand here. Right. Let's finish the prayer together so we can go do it. Like it's I've shown some really crappy prayers.
That is great.
Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah. And I got to give Mike credit, because I didn't know who we were with the other day was a believer.
Yeah.
Well, he's he's like anybody else. Like, I don't like, he's a believer, but I didn't know how strong it was, right? Mm-hmm. And so we met him at lunch for Whole Foods, right?
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to dive in food. So normally, if I'm with people that I don't know where their status is on believing, like, I will not pray before I eat, because I don't want to. It's not that I'm embarrassed. I don't want them to feel like, oh gosh, like maybe, I don't want them to feel weird. And Mike's like, all right, let's, you want to say a real quick prayer? And I'm like, oh wow, we're doing this, so. And I'm like, good, let's do it, right? Yeah. And I was really proud that he did that. And I'm like, oh wow, I don't think I would have done that, right? Yeah. So, but then Mike told me after, he's like, oh yeah, he's a Catholic. And I'm like, oh. I'm like, because I even brought it up to him. I'm like, whoa, man, you just went right in there. I'm like, does Dennis, oh, sorry, I'm like, I didn't even realize, and but no, I mean, so you guys are hard on yourselves.
Well, what was awesome about that? Let me stay on that for a minute, because, we actually, by doing that, and honestly, Rob, you've given me the strength to not be ashamed or not be... not hide publicly. There's nothing wrong with saying a quick prayer before you eat. No. So whenever we go to lunch, we do at the restaurant. But so what came out of that is the person, like, we started talking about.
Yep, we did. It was funny.
The walk that we have, and
is this friend a convert, or is he a cradle Catholic?
I think he's a cradle Catholic. Yeah. So, but
we want to bring him on the show sometime. Like, he's got an interesting story. Like, he's got a pretty tough life.
I don't even know if he would, but it would be interesting.
And he's crazy. Yeah. So, but the thing is,
like, in a good way.
It did. You're right. It prompted a really good discussion, and it
brought us to a different level because we prayed together.
It did, and
I was shocked that he prayed too. Like, because some people, like Rob said, would be like, whoa, we're doing it. Like, okay.
Yeah. I'm going to go get the salt over there. You guys keep doing what you're doing, right?
Yeah, right. You start throwing salt on you. Right. But anyway,
I don't believe what these people are doing.
Exactly.
Can I take a picture of you for my Instagram right now? So it's almost like you just set a level. Like, okay, we're going here at this lunch. So,
yeah, right.
Yeah, it was very
good.
cool.
Yeah. So just make that be something that's perfectly normal for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Do you pray in front of non-believers that are at the table with you? When you're with,
I don't eat with non-believers.
I didn't mean to work with. I didn't mean. Well, yeah, if you're joining,
I don't break bread with non-believers.
If you're joining his cult, that's what
you're going to see at the kids' day.
You believe in Jesus?
Yeah.
No.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's an interesting topic. Like, if you were people that you know maybe aren't believers, or you don't know where their faith walk is, will you still, in public, say a prayer at the table?
Yeah, my son's girlfriend isn't Catholic, and she was just visiting for the past week. She wasn't visiting; she was here for other reasons, but she stayed with us. And yeah, we prayed at the table with her, and she doesn't cross herself. And it occurred to me that she probably feels really awkward while we're doing this. She's probably like, "Should I do it? I don't really know what it means. I don't feel comfortable doing it."
Especially when you're trying to impress.
But we do it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'll do that when I'm hosting.
She's a Christian. Yeah, but she's not Catholic.
When I'm hosting a meal in the house, I usually do it. Now, if I had like the company over and I had people from the company. Well, no, like people that we work with.
Okay.
And from different walks of life. Some are Hindi, some... I don't know if I'd do that.
Wouldn't you, if you were at their house, though, wouldn't you expect them to observe their customs?
I've never seen them do that before.
Right. No, but I mean, I'm saying, if you went to someone's house and they were Hindi, say, and I don't know what, they do, but maybe there's some sort of ritual that they perform, sort of prayer or something. I mean... I would find it interesting to be permitted to be there. And I always think that, when people get mad when you say Merry Christmas, I'm not a Christian. You hear about that kind of thing. Yeah. But isn't it an honor to bless someone in your faith?
It is.
People will be like, don't pray for me.
It is.
Well, I'm praying for you because I can't, it's like, thank you.
Like
if a Muslim is like, I'm going to
you're not like the Mormons.
Like, thank you.
Yeah, you're not like being the Mormons where you're praying them into their...
No.
I just prayed you into Mormonism, boy.
Right. No, it's an expression of the fact that you care about them as a person, that you're
I agree.
Using your beliefs for their benefit.
Yeah. It's like Father Bishop Barron saying, we all have this thing in common, and, we can get to that higher plane with each other, right? Like, if you're with somebody that might believe another belief, there is a common thread that we all have. Like, well, we both believe in creation, right? Yeah. So you believe in the beauty of creation. Right. Like, that's something. Start with the things we have in common. So maybe going along with that line.
Mother Teresa said something to the effect of, to be a good Christian, help a Hindi be the best Hindi they can be. Help a Buddhist be the best Buddhist that they can be.
Right.
Help them to live their beliefs and their morality, to the point, to the highest point that they're able.
Right.
And let God take it from there.
Yeah.
And God is sprinkled in all faiths. C.S. Lewis said that it's God leaving the human race good dreams.
Right.
He's there to lead people to him.
Right.
So you don't try to wrestle someone away from what they believe. You help them to be a good person in their morality. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how arrogant would someone have to be to say, don't pray for me to your God. Like, please pray for me to God.
Yeah. Pray for me to a God you don't believe in.
Yeah.
I believe in this God with all of my heart and all of my soul, and I'm asking him to help you.
Yeah.
How is that an offense to you?
Right.
Yeah.
I think the only time that it would be uncomfortable for me is if the dinner host had asked me to participate in something that I didn't feel comfortable with, like, whatever.
We both agree that Satan is our savior.
Okay,
Mother Satan.
Oh, why do you have to go there?
Mother Earth.
Poking holes.
Or just like some pagan thing. Like,
so that's the one thing.
So before we eat, let's all sacrifice our kitten.
Yeah, that's right.
We have beside the table.
Here's a box of kittens. Everyone grab one. We're going to sacrifice.
No.
Yeah.
That's not... No.
Rob, why did you... Yeah.
Well, let's take... Yeah, exactly. There is a limit, then.
There is a limit, yes. All right. You found it. Thank you, Rob.
All right. What else we got?
That's a new tagline for the show. Locusts.
Yeah,
there is a limit.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
No, locusts. If there's a limit, Rob will find it.
That's right.
All right. Okay, so...
I think it's a wrap.
Is there any... Yeah. Let's roll it out.
Okay, well, let me just cover...
Are we going to continue on the next episode with this?
Yeah, we could do that, actually. That's a good idea.
We're going to do a two-parter, or did we have something for the next show?
I mean, I can keep going with this. I'm actually only like 4 bullets in. So...
Yeah, let's carry it on to the next show.
Okay, well, let me finish this one.
Okay.
Okay, so pray several times a day. We talked about pray daily in silence.
Mm-hmm.
Pray as a family.
Mm.
Thank the Lord for your gifts. Pray the rosary. Pray to the saints for intercession. And just as a guidebook or a guidance for prayer, Luther's catechism has some really good instruction, as I'm sure the catechism does. So, yeah, the Catholic catechism. That's all I got for pray several times a day. The others, go to Mass, tithe, study Christ, as well as know thy enemy. Celebrate the sacraments, speak with care and honor your obligations, and care for the world that God created. So we'll touch on those other ones.
These are all mandatory in your community?
They are.
Okay.
Except, yeah. And
Under pain of death.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, yeah. So we got. We'll pick up the others later.
Yeah.
I still haven't figured out where the insect god comes into this.
That's in part 2.
Is that in that?
It's part 2.
Is it part 2? I want to find
That'll
out.
That'll be in the 11 p.m. broadcast.
Yeah, I want to figure out how we have sexual relations with aliens. Figure that out.
Right.
Tonight on Channel 2,
Yeah.
everyone must have special sexual relations with aliens.
Super.
Tune in at 11.